Talk Radio, AM-750, WSB.
Thank you, Scott. Tonight it's going to be partly cloudy, low 68. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and warm, high 86, low 67. The temperature presently on Peachtree Street is 75 degrees. I did have Erica on hold who wanted to disagree with me, but Erica wimped out. So I guess I'm right after all. No, if someone wants to disagree, you're very welcome to. Right now we're going to go to Jim in Lawrenceville. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Melanie.
How are you?
Fine. I was just going to say I totally agree with you because a couple of years ago I went to a job interview at a bank in Gainesville, and everything went real well. I went to the personnel manager. It went real well. Talked to the department manager I was going to work for. That went excellent. Talked to the president of the bank. That was excellent. And he was getting ready to hire me. But then they said, oh, you got to take this psychological test. So I took this test, and then...
Which one was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Was it like a bunch of true-false questions?
Yeah, it was...
I have trouble holding my bowel movement. I mean, they're just inane questions, but there's something in that bowel movement question about you that tells something about you.
Exactly. And then they said, well, of course, we have to send it in to be graded. I guess, I don't know, some psychiatrist sits there and grades it.
And they just throw it in a computer, probably that kind. Yeah.
And then I called back, and they wouldn't even return my phone calls. It was really depressing. But
it's like now you're like one of these Hebe people. Ooh, look what it says about them. I mean, you're categorized for life by these people.
Exactly.
And I just don't feel like they're responsible.
It ought to be unconstitutional. I mean, it's just...
It really should, Jim. I agree. And you know where they get these people? If you took the MMPI, what they did was they went and supposedly found a bunch of normal people. Now, this is in their estimation of what's healthy out in the Midwest in emergency rooms, okay? And they just, hey, are you healthy? You're here because Uncle Joe sprained his ankle out in the cornfield? Okay, come here. Could you answer some questions for us? And, I mean... I don't know what the breakdown was ethnically. Did they have Italians? Did they have Jewish people? Did they have Oriental people? Or did they just have nice corn-fed, white, Anglo people who answered these questions,
Right.
And then to determine what's male and what's female for the MMPI, anyway, they determined what's male and what's female. I believe, if I'm correct, they got 60 stewardesses and something like 60 soldiers. And all the 60 stewardesses, like Barbie, represent what's female. And all the 60 soldiers represent what's male, because they were thought to be typical male and female subjects.
Yeah, it has absolutely nothing to do with the real world nor at that particular job at all.
You say you like Alice in Wonderland. If you're a female and you like it, you're normal. If you don't like it, you're like a lesbian, okay? If you're a male and you don't like it, you're normal. If you're a male and you like it, you're a homosexual. I mean, up your whole life. Your whole life.
You know what it is I think it comes down to, it's just a sales tool. Is somebody has this test, and they go around to all the personnel managers, I mean, in my particular case, they go all around the personnel managers, and they convince these people who have nothing to do except for fill out tax forms, and that, in order for you to get better people, you ought to have these tests taken. We'll grade them for you for X amount of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And they convince them of that, and then they get the board to approve it and say, oh, that's a great idea. And then all they do is they make a profit, and that's all it is. It's all about money. It's not about human beings and what the best person for that position or whatever.
And it shows a marked lack of originality on the part of psychologists. That the subjects that they use to form the basis for what is normal, there's no originality, there's no thought, there's no room for people to, I guess because psychologists themselves are unable to size up a person themselves. They don't have the discernment to do it, so they have to use these inane, archaic tests that mean absolutely nothing. And I'm telling you, I can't go into detail, but what I found out is lie. Next time, Jim, lie through your teeth. The only one you should answer correctly is, now, don't take me word for word. I'm just saying this is what I'm suggesting, okay? The only one you should answer true to as far as negative traits is that you engaged in petty thievery as a child. That's the only one to answer true to. Don't say you ever had trouble with authority, with the law, that you ever drank anything, that you ever used an illegal drug, even though most people of our generation did. Don't say it, okay, Jim?
All right.
And next time you're going to pass it just fine.
Okay.
All right, bye. Thanks for calling.
Bye.
I'm serious about this, people. I guess nobody else cares, but I challenge a psychologist. Call me up and explain the meaning of these tests. Because I mean it. I finally have figured out if you lie, you're fine. And that hurts. I mean, I think the truth sets you free. I think if you're truthful, it's helpful to you to find out what your strengths and weaknesses are. But if you have flaws, then you're a tainted person. You're a borderline personality. But if you lie, you're completely normal. I mean, where's the integrity? Where's the reality here? I'm so disappointed in the Psychological Association, the psychological people out there, psychologists. It's a vast wasteland, and I hope you'll call me. 872-0750. Right now we're going to go to John real quick. Hi, John.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much, John.
I love your show. I love Phil Hendrie. I like you and David Paul. I get you on SUN down here. You guys are terrific.
Thank you. We have, like, the best station in the nation.
Neil Rogers doesn't say that.
Oh, who cares about Neil Rogers?
About the famous people. First, about the famous people. The most famous person probably in my family is my grandfather. This isn't really famous, I don't think, but he was the production manager for Cosmopolitan magazine in New York City during the 60s.
Ooh, the hot 60s. John.
Yeah, he died in 69 in a heart attack in LaGuardia.
Oh.
I never knew him.
What a place to die, LaGuardia. Was he, like, on a plane or waiting in line for his ticket or what?
In the terminal.
Oh, no.
Terminal in the terminal.
Terminally ill in the terminal. Oh, how sad, John. I'm
at least
sorry.
it's not as bad as O'Hare.
So anybody else? I got to run real quick. Anybody else, John?
Aside from maybe a friend of mine whose cousin is an astronaut.
That's pretty famous.
Mm-hmm.
Not many of us have been to the moon and such. Well, thank you for calling, John, and keep listening. We love you down there in Tampa.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye, hon.
Bye.
You're listening to News Talk Radio, AM-750 WSB.
The Fraternal Order of Police has extended its campaign against auto theft.
I don't want nobody better off alone. I'm sworn independent. My heart is made of stone, but you're breaking on through. Oh, there's something about you. I've been tapping my toes to the way you talk. I've been singing along when I watch the way you walk. Baby, I got to do somebody.
Isn't that a nice song? Sort of abruptly ended there. Or is it just that? Is it just that? Once again, my headphones have come disconnected. I don't know what's wrong with this. I just don't know what's wrong with my headset. It just, the little adapter thing just won't stay stuck in the hole. Okay. Have you ever had that problem with your adapter? We're talking about, if you just joined us, this is Melanie. You're listening to News Talk Radio, AM-750 WSB. It's 8:36 here, and what we're talking about, just at least for the rest of the hour, and unless, nobody cares, is the fact that if you have to take psychological tests, you should lie through your teeth. Now, I did not believe this way. Until this week, I thought that you should be above board, and you should tell the truth. Admit to your faults. If you don't admit to your faults, you're never going to learn how to improve yourself. And everyone, I don't care who you are or what you are, has something to improve about your character. But really, most of us are basically normal, functioning human beings, and we do fine. But I found out that if you have to take one of these tests, you better lie. Because if you tell the truth, you're doomed. Psychologists, at least the ones that I've been dealing with lately, don't care about integrity. They don't care about the truth. They want you to lie. And if you answer the little questions the way they determine you should answer them, you can floor them. You can snow job them. You can do such a whitewash on yourself that they'll pat you on the back and tell you you're wonderful. I'm serious. No, so far, not one psychologist has had the guts to call me up and dispute this. And I guess that's because I'm telling the truth. It must be. If you do want to dispute me, the number is 872-0750. That's 872-0750. I'd be glad if you want to present a different side. If you think you should tell the truth and be above board and honest, then by all means call me up and tell me. But I think you know I'm right, and that's why you haven't called. You do have an opinion about this. Some of you have had to take these tests, and you know what I'm talking about. 872-0750. In a little while, we'll go over those Rorschach blots and how you can beat those, because they'll probably make you do those at some point, too. And those are really tricky. Hi, Bob.
Yes, I'm here.
How are you doing, Bob?
I'm doing wonderful. I just wanted to say, first of all, that I agree totally with what you're saying, that as a general rule, you probably ought to lie about almost any personal question that you get asked by someone you don't know.
Isn't that sad?
I went through a period of time, it's been a few years ago, when I was interviewing for jobs. Almost every job interview I went on, at some point I took some kind of psychological test. And I finally determined that I think my best aptitude was for taking aptitude tests.
Right.
I took one of them that used a little pin to poke through.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the MMPI.
Yeah, the way the test was made, though, was a multi-fold test. To score it, they cut it open, and the back page had little circles. And if you had punched holes in the little circle, you were right. Well, if you took the test and sort of squeezed it a little bit, you could see where they were. And I never even read the test. I just went through, poked the holes through. In fact, on a couple of them, I even accidentally made mistakes where if you made a mistake, you were supposed to poke twice and then go back, and they just counted the one that had the single hole in it.
Uh-huh.
I aced the test. It was the first time they'd ever had anybody do that.
Wow. Oh, wow. So
they thought I walked on water.
So what did you do now? Tell me this again.
Okay. The test was designed to be taken with a pin, and you punched holes through the test.
Okay.
And it was like one big piece of paper folded up about 6 times.
Okay.
So that the back, by the time you got to the very back page was like sealed in.
Uh-huh.
And it had rings so that if you punched the correct answers all the way through the test, each of these little rings had a hole in it.
So you just like went down the rows and went, okay, true, false, true, false.
What I did is I didn't even do that. I opened up I looked inside the test.
And then you just poked it right
and just
straight.
poked it through. I never even read the questions.
Well, there's a helpful tip for everyone.
I found that this is true on so many things, even, and I hate to say this, but even on resumes. You know, I look at people's resumes sometimes, and they tell you, don't ever lie on a resume. Don't ever lie on a resume. You need a job, lie on a resume, because you might get you an interview. Nobody may ever check it.
You know, I value honesty, Bob. I really do. And I'm truthful. I know what my faults are.
That's true.
And I have faults.
We all do.
I think that's healthy to say I have faults. I think it's so unhealthy to
My wife knows I do.
Right. Of course, she knows better than anybody. She knows better than you do what your faults are.
Well, no, she keeps telling me. She keeps pretty good track of them.
She'll remind you.
She'll remind me.
Constantly.
Yes.
But still, I mean, I think it's healthy to say, yes, I have these problems. And also, the psychologists they don't look at what's going on in your life or what's happened in your life and say, well, maybe this situation here, maybe, since his wife did bite off the head of his chihuahua, he has a little hostility, and, so we'll give him credit, and maybe he'll get over it in time. They don't even give you credit. It's, this person is this way, and this is what I say, and, it's sick. It's horrible, so lie. Right, Bob?
Whatever you can avoid, don't ever give your correct Social Security number.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
That's when, like, your driver's license has become your internal passport. You can't cash a check without it.
I know. It's getting pretty bad.
Yeah, the whole thing is becoming really tight. Anyway, in any event, I think you're giving out some good advice. Sometimes if you can just torpedo some of this stuff, it may throw a monkey wrench in the works and make life a little easier for everyone. People may actually have to go back and think about what they're doing rather than putting it all down on a test and saying, well, see, there's the test numbers. Boom, you're dead.
Right, exactly. Thank you for your call, Bob.
Yeah, enjoyed it, Melanie. Thank you.
Lie, Bob. Lie.
That's not really my name.
Bye, Bob.
Bye-bye.
Lie, people. I'm telling you, lie through your teeth. Don't admit to anything. The only thing you can admit to on that MMPI, if you're facing this test this week, The only thing you should admit to is that you have engaged in petty thievery at one time in your youth. Don't ever say you've ever been drunk in your life, because from here on out you're considered a drunkard, even if it happened, 15 years ago when you and your buddies went out behind the Red Lobster and downed some MD 2020. Don't admit to it. I'm telling you, don't. Stacy.
Yes.
You there?
First of all, Melanie, I want to say that I'm glad you got your own show.
Thank you, Stacy.
And that you have a very beautiful voice. I've never seen you in person, but you sound like a babe.
Oh, boy, Stacy, you sound like a babe, too.
Thank you.
Why do you suppose it is that no psychologists or PhDs or psych majors have called me?
I don't know. Where is everybody on Saturday
Maybe
night?
they don't listen to talk radio. Maybe they're really abnormal, Stacy, because normal people listen to talk radio, don't they?
Maybe they're afraid to confront things.
Maybe they know I'm speaking the truth.
Maybe
so what do you think about this issue? Do you have anyone famous in your family, first off?
No. I'm just a nobody. I don't have anybody famous in my family.
Just you, Stacy.
What I want to say about lying, I think the big problem that people have with lying is that most of us are always told not to. And when you're told something when you're young, all the way up to you're older, it kind of gets in you and it becomes automatic. On the test...
That's the way I am. I am the worst liar in the world.
Really?
I am the worst liar. I blush. I cannot tell a lie.
So I don't sound like a babe.
Huh?
So I don't sound like a babe, right? You lied.
Why? Did you see me blushing?
No.
I mean, I blush about a lot of things, but still, it's very difficult. It goes against my nature to tell a lie. It just does.
Well,
and I understand what you're saying, so continue.
I value honesty, like you said yourself, and I just try to be honest myself. But I have to agree with Bob when I used to work in a grocery store, and I have to agree with him when he says don't give out your true Social Security number. Maybe don't lie, but be careful of where you give it out, because that's valuable nowadays.
You have to give it out, though, to get a job.
True.
To get a loan, for any number of things you have to give. I mean, to get a library card, you have to give out your Social Security number. It was never intended to be an identification device, but it has become one.
Right.
It's not private anymore. Well, thank you for adding to the conversation, Stacy.
Okay.
And I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, what was that on the screen there that I was supposed to... Why when I'm getting ready to read it, you just take it right off the screen? Oh, Daryl, I'm going to have to spank you. He likes that idea. By the way, you can hear Dave Paul. I believe Dave will be back Monday. He can tell us all about his adventures in jail. And Dave, never say you were in jail. If you have to take one of these psychological tests, big no. Never admit that you were arrested. Even if you were like in some protest back in the 60s against Vietnam or something, and you burned your bra that looked like a flag or something. Don't admit to being arrested. Okay, Dave? That's some advice for you. But you can hear David Paul here weekdays, noon to 4, on News Talk Radio AM-750 WSB. I'm waiting for a psychologist to call. I have not heard from one yet. I assume that you psychologists out there either don't listen to talk radio, and thus you are really as boring as we all think you are, or two, you know I'm right and you're afraid to admit the truth. And that's very sad, because denial is bad for you. It's just as bad for psychologists as it is for the rest of us. Now, the Rorschach blots, those suckers, what somebody did is they folded a piece of paper in half, and they plopped some ink on there, and then they squished it down. You might have done that when you were a child. You put some of that tempera paint on the paper, and then you folded it in half, and it squashed and opened it up, and it was a symmetrical design of sort of abstract little design. Well, someone, and I don't know who determined, what these blots represented, but someone with too much time on his hands said, okay, we're going to show these people, I think there are 7 or 8 blots. And they show them to you, and now these are the people who will claim you are manipulative. These people will manipulate you when you take this Rorschach blot test. Okay, they will show them to you in a particular order. They will not let you see that they're writing things down, but they will write down everything you say as you're looking at these blots. Everything. If you go, oh man, I can't figure out what this is, they will write that down and say, this subject is immature. So you need to just keep your comments to a minimum. Now, if you're like me and you look at these blots and you go, this is probably the most ridiculous exercise in futility that I've ever experienced in my life, and I don't see what these blots are supposed to represent. However, I will humor this examiner, and I will tell you what I think I see in these, but I'm not going to get into it because I think it's a ridiculous test. Don't be that way, because what you'll do is you'll just look at it and go, well, it looks like so-and-so and set it down. Well, this looks like so-and-so and set it down. You should give at least 3 or 4 responses to each card, okay? Give 3 or 4 responses to each card. No negative responses. There's one card that sort of looks like a man standing up. That card is supposed to represent your daddy. And if you say it looks like a giant or something mean, well, then you have a bad relationship with your dad. How they know this, I don't know. But say it looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy or the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, okay? And always give more than one response, but no negative responses. We'll come back and I'll give you a few more tips on the Rorschach blots just in case you have to take them. And if you're a psychologist, I'm waiting for one to call. None have called. My number is 872-0750. You're listening to News Talk Radio AM-750 WSB.
Coming up Monday on Atlanta's Morning News, Perot's gone, the Perot factor remains. I'm Sam Hall.
A brave psychologist on the line. I have to collect my thoughts here. I used to think that psychologists wanted to help people, and now they just intimidate the hell out of me. So let me take a deep breath. Okay, Jeff.
Hey, here's one that agrees with you.
You agree with me?
Well, let's put it this way. I believe I caught a little piece of your conversation. It sounds like you're talking about using these tests in employment situations.
Well, no, this was for another situation. I can't really go into it, but basically just to assess, sort of compare two people
something
to
in
each
a
other.
courtroom.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't want to really...
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Just believe me, there'll be somebody on the other side in that situation that will tear those tests apart.
Good.
I just want to say that those tests were not written for use in employment and all those kinds of things. There are no... The MMPI, for example, was developed for clinical work to help people. Not...
But basically, it's a no-win test, Jeff. It's a no-win test.
Yeah, what you need to know is you can't you say get it, ace it, that kind of thing.
No, I mean it's designed to show that everybody's wrong. But I found out, and I can't go into detail, but
and neither can any psychologist. That's why nobody wants to call, because ethically they can't tell you the workings of the test.
Yeah, I know a little bit about the test.
Go ahead.
I know who the subjects were, and et cetera, and what certain questions are supposed to mean. But what I also know is that if you lie, you ace it. And I don't care. I mean, let's say, for example, now this is just a hypothetical situation, Jeff. Suppose a guy walks in, or a girl, and this person has a history of drinking their face off, getting drunk, falling down sloppy drunk. All they have to do is answer on the test, no, I have never used alcohol excessively in the past. The psychologist pats him on the back, says, no evidence of alcohol abuse here, and sends him on his merry way.
Well, here comes a little secret. Broadcast to how many thousands of people. The truth is that if you say you've never touched a drink, you'll never touch a drink, those kinds of things, it will say the test will likely come out invalid if you did that throughout the test on a lot of different things, if you were denying everything.
Right.
Because the norms show that nobody's that perfect.
Right.
So you're better off to say...
But I found out with this certain thing. Now, I admitted that. I admitted that I had problems with authority in the past, right? Okay, which I have. I mean, just about everybody has.
Give you a high 4 scale, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Pardon?
There's a 4 scale on there that would have been high in that regard.
Right,
if you kept saying that.
So, I mean, but these tests really don't... Really, it's all subjective. I mean, the psychologist cannot tell you what kind of person you are by these tests. I think they should be illegal.
Well, the way I believe in the way I use those tests is...
Don't even use them at all, Jeff. Make up your own. You know, get your own test subjects. Get people... I mean, weren't the test subjects for this people who were all out in the Midwest?
You know what they were?
They were...
my schooling is in Minnesota, by the way, and that test was normed on what was called Minnesota normals. And I I'm not sure there are many Minnesota normals. At least they don't match people in Atlanta, let's
I mean,
say.
Jeffrey Dahmer was from the Midwest, right? Right? I mean, come on, people.
Yeah, they need to. Psychologists should spend a lot more time on the interview portion of those MMPIs, et cetera. Now, if you get me going on the Rorschach, I'll tell you that I think it's a bunch of BS.
It's a bunch of garbage.
But believe me, that plenty of psychologists would agree with that. As far as MMPI is more objective, is more scientific. The drawings they have you do, the Rorschach, those kinds of things have less evidence. Now, I might get psychologists to call. Now they might call to tell me that I'm crazy, but I believe
think it's all rot, Jack.
You got to be careful about that Rorschach.
Make up your own test. Find people who are Italian, who are black. I mean,
that's what they've done now with the new MMPI. They did norm it on all those people.
Did they really?
Yes, but
I can't believe it. But
I want to make this major point that when you do take the test, though, if you say things like, "I read the editorial every day," that kind of thing, they know nobody does that. So that then makes the test
but there are people. I read the editorials every day.
Sure, but and so do I, and I was in the same business you're in for years. And that's, so you get into that. But at the same time, if you say that throughout the test on all those kinds of things that makes you look too good, they'll say this subject may have been trying to appear good. Okay?
Oh, well. All right, well, thank you, Jack.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy listening to you. Bye-bye.
Bye. See, an honest psychologist. This one values integrity and honesty. I can go home and sleep tonight. We'll be back. You're listening to News Talk Radio AM-750 WSB.
Well, did you ever have a day?
Cousin. And I know her. I know her cousin. I mean, I've touched her. I've talked to her. Whatever. Okay, it's going to be a fun hour now because everyone disagrees with me, and I'm really happy to hear that. I'm glad that people have got their adrenaline pumping. They care. You care. People care. I'm just so thrilled. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, had to cue my lovely and talented producer, Daryl Harris. All these guys, I have 3 psychologists on hold who disagree with me, but first we're going to go to Dot because she's been holding the longest. Hi, Dot.
Hello there, Melanie. I'm a first-time caller.
Well, thanks for calling, Dot.
And I'm saying, my mouth is real dry, but I'm going to talk real fast and tell you, I'm related to an astronaut. He's a second cousin, and he was pilot of the Challenger before the one that had that terrible accident. And he was to be the pilot after that, but he was pulled and he was put down on the base there in Florida for a short time.
And you were glad of that?
Oh, yeah. And then he was pulled off, and he was sent to Washington to supervise the president's trips and things. And I don't know what he did up there. Then he was pulled again, I think, and was sent back down to Florida. Then he was pulled from there and worked at Edwards Air Force Base as a part-time person there. And then they made him, he's manager of the full-time there, the Edwards Air Force Base.
Well, that's exciting.
Now, he would appreciate this. He's down to earth, just a lovely person.
What's his name?
Roy Bridges.
Roy Bridges. Well, I'm glad you called, Dot.
He's under 50 years old, but I want to tell you, he came to see my mother in the nursing home.
Uh-huh.
She was there, and my mother lived to be 103 and 2.5 months. Her mother lived to be 102, and a sister lived to be 100 in November and died in February of the next year.
Boy, I'd like to have family members like that, Dot.
And I'll be 80 the last day of this year.
And you're going to be calling me for another 40 or 50 years.
I'm working.
All right. Where do you work, Dot?
I work for the Child Development Center with the Second Baptist Church in College Park.
Dot, I'm so proud of you, and thank you for joining us and sharing that with us.
Thank you for letting me tell you.
Bye, darling.
Bye-bye.
Okay, here we go. Brad in Tampa. Hi, Brad.
Yeah, hi, Melanie.
Do I sound cheerful and not hostile or anything?
Well,
are you sizing? Are you a psychologist?
I'm a fourth-year doctoral student in clinical psychology.
Do you size up everybody you meet?
No.
Do you feel superior to everyone because you know about the human psyche and everyone doesn't?
Well, I don't quite take that tack.
Okay.
But my sense is you seem to be...
Just asking, Brad. Just checking.
You seem to be baiting psychologists tonight, so I'm going to at least take a part of the bait.
Somebody has to bait you guys. You're not holding up your end of the deal. I found, I used to trust you guys. I used to think that psychologists went into the field to help people, that they cared, that they wanted to make things better, that they had a certain discernment about people's character. And I found out this week it was like a punch in the gut, Brad. I found out this week that you guys don't value integrity. You value lying.
Right. Well, I would of course disagree with that. But my sense is that you are embroiled in some kind of custody. Look, Brad, I'm going to dump it if we get into this. I can't get personal. It's that kind of situation. I'm just perplexed by the amount of vitriol I see, I hear coming from you concerning psychologists. And my working hypothesis would be that it is some kind of custody matter. But with regard to, be that as it may, with regard to the information you've conveyed to people concerning the
They should lie. They should lie, Brad.
There was a gentleman who called a few minutes ago before the break who indicated that would be picked up on the test, and the gentleman is correct.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was not picked up. There was some major league lying done. I'm talking world-class lying, Brad.
I'm sure it was done by the other individual. Correct.
I'm talking about somebody who lied so badly that there's just no way that it was. It floors me, and it was believed.
Right. Let me just tell you what the way these things
Brad,
are.
wait a minute. Let me ask you something first.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
There are underhanded psychologists, and I'm not saying. Wait a minute, Brad.
There are underhanded radio personalities and underhanded attorneys.
Brad, no, I want to ask you a question. I'm
sure
asking you for advice.
Certainly.
Okay, and
you have insurance? I'm being facetious. Go ahead.
What is the fee going to be for this? Geez, that's right. These guys are probably all charging me for the hours they're sitting on hold, and you guys are like $150 an hour. Okay, all right. Let me just ask you this: there are and I have a very good friend who's a psychologist who I do trust, who is a wonderful person, and he warned me that it was a vast wasteland out there. Okay, but there are psychologists who will tell a person how they can best complete these tests. Are there not?
In all honesty, and I'm not trying to fudge this, that would be unethical.
It might be unethical, but unethicalness exists everywhere in society.
Yes,
okay,
that is correct.
So there are ways that you can take these tests and sort of, admit to just enough faults that you're not you're not suspect.
Yeah, the gentleman was
but
saying,
still deny the major things that.
See, that is, as the gentleman was saying earlier, if you're denying everything, every kind of aberrant behavior, that's going to kick out. I've worked at private psychiatric facilities, and you have to understand that the MMPI was designed as a gauge of psychopathology and is most useful in a clinical setting. People have talked about it used for employment hiring purposes. And I agree that it was not designed for that. But in a clinical...
I think it's a bunch of rot, Brad.
Well,
I really honestly think it's a bunch of rot.
That's not... you really...
And
Wait, hang on, Melanie. You need to be able to be more specific and have your comments driven by data. To say that something is rot is one thing, but it really doesn't give anybody any information about what specifically you considered problematic with the measure. And people need to know that because you're giving people information that really is doing them a disservice. I think it's doing them a disservice.
Brad, they need to lie. It did me a disservice to tell the truth.
Well,
I value integrity. I value honesty, and I think most people are intelligent enough to see through certain attitudes and attributes.
What I would say is.
But you don't. But wait, Brad, you don't get rewarded for admitting to your flaws. You get categorized by your flaws by these tests.
Cool.
You aren't rewarded for saying, okay, this person's not in denial. This person looks at him or herself and says, well, I have a problem in this area. I have a problem in that area. You're not rewarded or given a pat on the back for having the integrity to be honest.
Right. Melanie,
you're rewarded for lying.
What I would recommend is no psychologist that is functioning adequately, in my judgment, relies on a single data point. And by that I mean that the MMPI is one piece of data. It's when you're trying to compose a psychological evaluation.
You get a whole bunch of them. I know.
That's exactly
there's the
right.
rod or incomplete. You guys
No,
got all these
excuse me. I'm talking about not only measures like that, but
and
also behavioral
interviews.
observations
yes,
and interview data as well.
But who
And
are you guys to say what's normal?
Pardon?
Who are you to say what's normal, Brad?
Well,
who
normal-
are you? Who are you? What cerebral capacity, what God-given talent do you have, aside from a bunch of scientific charts, to say what's normal and what's abnormal?
Well,
who are you to say that? Who are you to determine that?
I think we all make evaluations about what constitutes normal and abnormal all the time.
But
and
what
I
I
would venture
say,
to
wait,
say that
Brad,
you have far fewer professional credentials than I upon which to make that determination.
Oh, I see. Because you have professional credentials, you're a better judge of character than I am.
Not always.
See.
I will not always be. But chances are that over an entire spectrum of interactions with individuals, chances are people with professional training will be superior to those who do not have.
I have to disagree, Brad.
And you are, of course, entitled to that disagreement.
Because I think when you're seeing people, when you're interviewing people, they're intimidated. They're in a situation that they're not comfortable. They're not. They're talking to somebody most of the time, and your responses will be,
Well, I mean, what would you have? You were saying this earlier on. You were saying that if you were talking about somebody who would burn their house down repeatedly, or whatever have you, psychologists sit there and go, What would you have us say?
Okay, well, let me give you an example, okay? This is a hypothetical, totally hypothetical thing. Suppose you start crying. Suppose you're a guy, you've lost your job, okay? And you start crying during the interview. And the psychologist says, what about this is making you cry? You say, well, I'm afraid that because financially I'm destitute at this point, and I'm afraid I'm going to become homeless, okay? And then the psychologist looks at you and he says, well, I believe that's an appropriate response. I believe that's you should feel that way because you are facing that. It is something that is normal for you to fear.
Correct.
And every one of us, Brad, should fear homelessness at this point because our economy stinks, okay?
Well, that's another issue.
Okay, right. But you guys don't take into account the current political climate or the current whatever. Let's not get into that. I'm not finished. Okay, so he baits you. He says, well, I can understand why you feel that way. It's certainly appropriate that you feel that way because of the situation. But then later, when he comes out with his evaluation of you, he says, this person has considerable inordinate fear of homelessness. This person is da-da-da-da-da-da. This person has too much pressure and should seek help.
Right. Once again,
I mean, that's garbage. It's like they bait you.
But
you guys, wait a minute. You guys have the power to say a person is manipulative, okay?
You are correct.
For example, that's one attribute that you might say someone is manipulative, but you guys are manipulative. You manipulate people into saying things that they might not otherwise say, correct?
Let's just say this. I would agree with you that we have considerable power, which is precisely...
Too much power. I don't think you should have any power. I think we should take you with a grain of salt.
Well, I think we should all take each other with a grain of salt. What I'm saying is, certainly we have considerable power, and that's
and you
why
like that power, don't you, Brad? You like that power.
That
you like
is why
that
it
feeling,
is necessary to exercise it judiciously. And all we can hope is that people in our profession choose to use that power carefully, and that they rely on multiple sources of data before they come up with evaluations.
You've already
that
said
clearly
that.
Do have
you're repeating yourself, Brad. What's the psycho thing when you repeat yourself, Brad? What do they call that? Repetitive behavior.
Maybe I have repetitive behavior disorder. Or
yes, you have impulsive, compulsive, repetitive behavior.
Well, I'm not sure that's in
I don't think I need to talk to you anymore because you're disturbed. Goodbye, Brad.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye. All right, you listen to News Talk Radio, AM-750, WSB.
Don't miss a thing. Keep it set on AM-750 WSB and check in 2, 3, 4 times a day. You can depend on AM-750 WSB to bring you breaking news quickly and thoroughly. Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic station. AM-750 WSB. Depend on it.
Imagine an investment opportunity that's guaranteed to earn over 3,000% profit immediately. Well, here it is. Just invest $1.75 on this Sunday's Atlanta Journal and Constitution. Inside, you'll find $41.66 in grocery coupons on brands like Post, Lipton, Harts, and Minute Maid. Bring them to Kroger, where every day is double coupon day, and you'll save a grand total of $61.36. With investments like the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, who needs Wall Street?
Every day, in every way, in everything we do. Every little thing we do. Kroger, for goodness sake.
Hello, this is Jules again. And, well, we're just so uncertain about when David's going to be back. I know it's getting frustrating. We're all a little frustrated. We're all a little on edge. But let's just keep our fingers crossed. And who knows, noon to 4 tomorrow or today or whenever he could reappear. So just stay tuned and join us. Otherwise, who knows what could happen. Now, more on Atlanta's News, Weather, and Traffic Station, News Talk Radio, AM-750 WSB.
Here's a song for all you psychologists. Hold on. I don't care anymore.
Well, you can tell everyone I'm a dumb disgrace. Drag my name all over the place. I don't care anymore.
Okay, all right, that's enough. I've indulged myself enough. The weather today is over. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 68. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and warm, high 86, low 67. The extended outlook Monday through Wednesday, partly cloudy, warm and humid, highs 89, low 69. The temperature presently on Peachtree Street is 74. I think we're going to end this topic in just a minute, but I did want to take a couple more calls on it. And I want to say this. I guess you all heard it in Brad's voice. He just sounded so arrogant and so superior. And I hate anybody who sounds that way. I mean, I'm in radio, okay? And there are probably people who think, oh, boy, she's in radio. And I don't get an ego trip about it. It's just a job. I'm the only person at this time of night who's brave enough to get behind a microphone and flap her lips. And that's the bottom line. It's an easy job. It doesn't require a whole lot of brains. You just push a couple buttons and you flap your lips, okay? There's no arrogance here. I don't think I'm better than anybody. But I know I talk to a lot of people, and I hear people's pain, and I know what people go through. And I hear people's joy. And I know most of us are basically normal. But the psychologists want to just categorize us and put us in these little envelopes because they want us to just fit in their little interpretation of what life is, and I just disagree with it. Alice Miller just wrote a marvelous book about telling psychologists to rot, because what do they know? What do they really know that you and I don't know? Not a whole lot. They have some scientific tests, and they have, we asked 40 people who were Ubangan Banji Aborigines what they would do if a coconut fell on their head. And because 96% of them said that they would do so-and-so, the normal person would do so-and-so. Now, forget that most of us are not Ubangi, Bojangi Aborigines and don't have coconuts falling on our head. We must answer the question the way it was asked to those people, and if we don't answer it a certain way, we're not normal. It's like saying in the South, most people who go to church are Baptists. So therefore, if I do not go to a Baptist church, I am not normal. I don't get it. Maybe Steve can explain it to me. Hi, Steve.
Hey.
What's up, dude?
Oh, no, I'm not a psychologist, by the way, but I am calling in defense of a lot of the psychological tests. I've worked around them a lot, and I've taken a lot of the psychological tests, so I've got a little bit of background. Personally, I think maybe you're oversimplifying a lot of this in that, I don't know, I mean...
I think it needs to be oversimplified.
Well,
I think psychologists have made it so complicated.
Melanie, will you let me talk?
Sure.
Okay, I'm sympathetic to people that's had bad experiences with them, you know, that maybe they wasn't ready to deal with certain things, or maybe that they really didn't have those kind of behaviors, and the test showed that. And, you know, I understand that. And there's a lot of psychologists and psychology that I don't agree with, you know, writing a book at the drop of the hat, trying to say that, you know, all this kind of thing. But basically, the psychological test, like MMPI, I do believe that they're really useful. First of all, they don't. What they do is they try to identify human behavior and traits. I mean, it's not a matter of trying to find out if somebody's lying about smoking pot or something like that. That's not what they do. That's not what they're for. That's, you know, what it does is gives an indication of human behavior. A good example would be, and Melanie, I'm sure you wouldn't want to continue to say, you know, lie on this test if it was in a situation where a parole board was using psychological tests and psychology to try to determine whether a rapist should be let out of prison. If those psychological tests are going to be able to tell the parole board that this person is still dangerous, I think you'd be in favor of that, of not encouraging that person to try to lie.
From my experience, and this is a limited experience, but from my experience, there's no reason for me to believe that a psychologist would be able to adequately assess a rapist's future potential to rape.
They do all the time. I've worked in...
I'm just saying, from what I've seen,
Melanie,
lie on the test, deny certain things. Now, I'm not saying that people should. I'm trying to make a point, Steve. What I'm trying to say is, number one, psychologists as a whole are just like the rest of society. There are scumbags and there are princes. Right? Wait a minute. I let you talk for approximately 2 minutes, and now it's my turn because it's my show. Okay? Okay. And there are great gals out there who are psychologists, and there are gals who are just have a hatred for humanity or for the society they live in. Okay? You got to give me that. Psychologists as a whole are no more nor less normal than the rest of us.
Yeah, I'm not crazy psychologist.
Right. So their interpretations are based on their personal experience, on their personal prejudices, on whether men appeal to them more than females, on whether a black person appeals to them more than a white person. They are not in a position to make statements about you or I based on these tests, or even based on observation. And the only reason I say this is I went to someone that I thought was trustworthy, and I found that this guy got snowed. I mean, he got snowed so bad, the guy, you know, he needs to put a pillow over his head. He got snowed big time. And he got snowed because somebody lied through their teeth.
But you shouldn't indict the whole psychological world simply because this guy was able to... Maybe he's a sociopath. You know, sociopaths are real, you know, are able to fool those tests. But what I'm saying is... No,
I'm not indicting the whole. Like I said, there are good ones and there are bad ones. But what I'm telling people for their own protection, Steve, is don't admit to as few faults as you can, because they'll be used against you. You will not be rewarded for admitting that you have faults. And that's just my experience. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying maybe you should do it. Does that make any sense? You're listening to Melanie on News Talk Radio, AM-750. Oh, wait a minute. We have a minute here, and I want to take Sally. Sally has a kind of icky, Sally. Kind of icky stuff. But I guess we all have those. I think those are the most interesting is those relatives who are kind of weird, you know?
Yeah.
The ones that kind of did weird stuff, you know?
I'm not real weird, but I have, like, a little bit of psychic in me.
Cool.
So I'm not, like, you know, real witch-like.
So my future's going to be happy, is it, Sally?
Hmm?
My future's going to be happy. You can probably tell me better than the psychologist can. Is my future going to be happy?
I hope so.
Thank you, Sally. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Our number's 872-0750, and you're listening to News Talk Radio, AM-750 WSB.
Theater of the Stars presents Miss Madeline Kahn in her world premiere performance of Hello, Dolly. On stage at the fabulous Fox Theater for 1 week only, Hello, Dolly is the one Broadway musical you'll be talking about all summer long. Madeline Con as the most entertaining, unique, fabulous, exceptional, extraordinary, phenomenal, amazing, charming, enchanting, lovable, hilarious, sensational dolly you've ever seen. It starts July 21st, and it's over July 26th. Don't miss it. Tickets at Ticketmaster now.
Get up and get moving with Atlanta's Morning News, the most up-to-the-minute morning news, weather, and traffic. This is Scott Slade. You can depend on News Talk Radio.
News Talk Radio, AM-750, WSB, Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic station. It's 9:30, and with a quick update, here's Suzanne Rowntree.
Thank you, Melanie. Ross Perot state volunteer leaders say Perot will work full-time on an effort to reform American politics and government. The volunteers met today with Perot and emerged to say he'll help pay to keep the movement going, but won't be a presidential candidate. President Bush is now at the presidential retreat at Camp David, Maryland, where he'll have to ponder Bill Clinton's big lead in the latest polls. A Newsweek survey has the Democrat ahead by 27 points, and he leads by 20 and 24 points in two other polls. The Augusta Chronicle reports that the Savannah River nuclear plant routinely released the radioactive gas tritium in the 1950s. The paper says the Energy Department acknowledges in a report that the releases were a mistake and plans to study possible health effects. Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin says he wants to make the Mideast peace progress go faster, and he wants a different atmosphere with the United States. Rabin says he hopes Secretary of State James Baker, who's to leave Washington tonight on a Mideast tour, will not hear the same things Baker heard during talks with rightist former Premier Yitzhak Shamir.
Can the problem be sweet Melanie? Why won't you go out with me? She lived across the street on the 15th.
All right, that's enough of that rot. That's enough of that rot. Okay, I've gotten my hostilities out at the Psychological Association and psychological people in general, and I don't mean to say all psychologists are bad. You're not. You're all right. Some of you, I suppose. But the topic I promised you, and I'm having to change headphones here because these headphones are not working. I don't know what the problem is. $85 headphones, they don't work. Here we go. There we go. Now I can hear myself. I'm so thrilled. You are listening to Melanie. If you're listening to us down at WSUN, down in Tampa or Orlando or wherever you're listening to us down there, you are welcome to call our talk shows at 1-800-WSB-TALK. I'm reading this great book. Summertime, I get the summer reads. So when you go to the beach or you're hanging around the house and it's hot and you don't feel like doing anything, you have a great excuse. You lay down on the sofa, you plop the book open. I'm reading it. I have to read this right now. And then you don't have an excuse to move in the heat. So I have this whole big collection of books. Some of them my mom gave me and some I've been meaning to read. I've been trying to plod my way through War and Peace, but it's just not working this time. I read it once and didn't retain much of it. But now I'm reading this book called Almost Paradise by Susan Isaacs. It's a great book. Great book. I highly recommend it. It's a great read. You won't be able to put it down. And it's about this couple. And they're this very famous, celebrated couple. And the guy's a really famous movie star. Of course, it's not like those romances you hear. It's sort of different. It really goes into the psychology of people, if you will. And the guy's out on location at these films, and women are just hitting on him like crazy. And he's called, I can't remember the word for someone who loves their wife too much, but they call him that word. And he's not going to cheat on his wife. And he talks in this book, his thoughts, it's written in the third person, but he relates the experience, the narrator relates the experience of this man who can't keep women off of him. And as I was reading this, I started thinking, are we women like that? Do we really like guys who have a partner? Are men more attracted? Are there certain women out there who are attracted to men who have someone? I mean, guys, you know this. You know this. If you're married or you have a girlfriend, are the women more attracted to you when you're with your partner, or when they know that you have a significant other? Are women really that bad? And then, so I was really thinking that. I was really kind of down on women after I read that. I thought, women are such sluts. We really are sluts. And I kind of, was kind of down on that for a couple days. And then I had an experience that was similar to one that I had a couple years ago. And I'll just relate the experience from a couple years ago because I don't want to indict anybody at the station or anything, or not that it happened at the station or anything. I was taking music lessons from someone. And he was a very nice person, not my type at all, married, his wife was ready to deliver a baby, very nice person, very helpful, taught me the instrument very well, very, very good teacher. And we would be locked up in this little room for an hour, right? Now that sounds bad, I know. But I went to learn the instrument. I didn't go to do anything else. I went to learn the instrument. I was not interested in the guy at all. But because I was one of the few females who came for music lessons for this particular instrument, I guess all the other teachers and all the other guys in the store would tease this guy unmercifully. Here she comes for your lesson. It was constant. And so the guy got so paranoid about it that when I would show up for my lesson, he would make it a point to be on the phone with his wife, talking very loud, looking at me as if to say, see, I'm talking to my wife and she's very important to me and I'm not going to cheat on her. And it really bothered me. It just put me on edge because I was just being friendly. I was a friendly person to him. I never indicated I was interested in him at all. And I thought it was rather arrogant of him to assume that I wanted him. So the question for the guys is, do women want you more when you have a partner? Are women really that bad? And the question for the girls is, do you ever have a situation where you're just being friendly and the guy is so arrogant and egotistical that he assumes that you want him and you want him badly? And does that happen often? I had a lot of people comment on that this week, so I know you've had an experience like this, and I know you're going to call because I need you to call because this is a talk show and we have to talk. And we're going to talk about the man-woman thing. And why do some women feel like they have to expose so much of their body? The older I get, the more that bothers me. Do I sound like a prude? I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't feel comfortable with my butt cheeks hanging out, Why do women do that? And why don't guys do it? Our number's 872-0750. If you want to join the conversation, we can talk about anything. But I'd like to talk about this attraction between men and women, and what's the key here? I want to know, are women sluts, or are you guys just so arrogant that you think we are? That you assume that if we look at you a certain way, we want you. It really bothers me. I'm a one-woman man. No, wait a minute. That came out wrong. Wait a minute. Let me think. There's probably some psychologist out there is probably saying, Freudian slip. She really wishes she was born a boy. No, actually, I'm a one-man woman. And I'm not interested in, but I'm friendly to everyone that I meet. That's just the way I am. I think we all get cheered by when we go to work or we're out in the workplace, a smile. And we get a smile and we say nice and hi and, we don't have to go in depth with each other, but we're just friendly. It's just it makes work so much easier when people are friendly. And this is a very friendly place, I think. When you're down, people at WSB will really cheer you up. But there are certain people who will take your friendliness as a come on. Have any of you women had this problem? I guess none of you have. I guess none of you are following what I'm saying. Our number's 872-0750 if you care to join me. Carl in Atlanta. Hi, Carl.
Hey.
Hey.
How you doing?
Fine.
All right. Hey, I was calling in about the psychologist and all that.
Are women sluts, Carl?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think we are? I'm glad. Because I was when I read that book, I thought, it does kind of sound like women. But then, it made me feel bad about women. But I guess that's just a handful of women, right?
Yeah.
There's just that handful that are sleazebags, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So I feel better now, Carl. Thank you. And what did you want to say?
Oh, about the psychologist. You said it's better to lie.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's my own opinion, though, Carl. I'm certainly not suggesting that anyone go out there and lie about anything, but it's just a suggestion.
Yeah. Well, I found out it goes both ways, you know.
Why's that?
Because that's the way I am. You know, I go both ways. You know, I've tried everything. I'll be all honest and I'll all lie. And I'll be all honest and I'll all lie, and I'll get in trouble either way.
So if you're honest, you get in trouble because you're too honest.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, this is how the psychologists determine this. There's no normal, because if you're honest, you're aggressive. Okay, you're aggressive if you're honest. If you lie, you're manipulative. So you can't win. So what do you do, Carl?
Just try to relax and try to just go with the flow.
There you go. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to take anything seriously anymore as long as I live. Not a single thing. Melanie, from this day forward, is not going to take anything seriously anymore. Okay?
Okay.
Bye, Carl.
See you later.
Go with the flow and relax. It's Saturday night. I need some of Phil Hendrie's music. I need to go over there and pull some of his carts, his little background things and stuff. Well, I had some people promise me that they wanted to talk about this thing here about women coming on demand, but right now we're going to talk about this. This is News Talk Radio AM-750, where after a tough day at the office, wind down on your way home with the Gary McKee Hometown Radio Show. All the news, weather, and traffic you need on your trip home. Weekdays at 4 here on Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic station. That's AM-750 WSB. I guess I threw off all the party animals by talking about an intelligent topic. I guess there's no one fun out there. There's no one out there who knows anything. And I'll never come back here on Saturday night as long as I live. Give me a sign. If you're listening, my number's 872-0750. You don't have to talk. Just give me a sign and light up the board. I'll talk. I will talk. And what we're talking about, if you just joined us, is this man-woman thing. And, you know, I want to get into a little bit about this women exposing themselves. I don't know why. As I get older, it bothers me. Maybe because my body's going to flab or something. But it just, I was in one of the department stores the other day, and on the racks it was just a bra. It was supposed to be a shirt. It cost like $40. And it was a bra with a little bit of denim on it. And I was thinking, who wears these things? Who wears this kind of stuff? It was weird. And young girls now, young women, are just showing so much flesh, there's nothing left to the imagination. And now I sound like some really old woman who's a prude, and I'm really not an old woman. I'm not a prude. But why do women do that? Is it because guys like it? Do men like to see women with, like, their butt cheeks hanging out and stuff? And a lot of cleavage? Do you guys like that? Does it turn you on? Or is it just women do it to just drive men crazy? Or should I do it because it's like the style, it's the fashion? Personally, I think we should all go around naked. But that's not going to happen. What do you think, Steve? Are you there, Steve?
Yes, I'm here, Melanie.
What's up, Steve?
Well, I was just listening to you tonight and thought I'd call. I agree with you on the one topic that you had, that women really do seem to be more attracted to men when they're with someone or involved with someone. And I think that's a little bit disturbing at times.
Are you like married, or you have a girlfriend or something?
I'm married now.
And so you find women are more attracted to you because you're married?
Well, I think back to when I was dating. And if I would go out somewhere and it was obvious that I was with someone, it would seem that women were much more aggressive and would come up and want to talk to me and make it difficult.
It's like a territorial thing or something?
I never really thought of it that way. I think it was more that they looked at me as though I wasn't as threatening.
As forbidden fruit, maybe?
Maybe that's it. I don't know.
So you think it's because you weren't threatening because you're already with somebody and they could be friendly and not have to, have you hanging all over them all night.
And I know that when I went out by myself or with other, with a couple of guy friends, and, it never happened then. I mean, it was a totally different type of a scenario than when I was obviously with a date. And I can remember 2 or 3 instances when, I was obviously with someone and and several women would come up and be much more aggressive and much more assertive in, you know, I want to take you home, or, you know, I want to be with you tonight, that kind of thing. And it was a little bit surprising.
So do you think that men are the same way? Do you think, or not, and certainly those women are not indicative of all women. Now I sound like a psychologist, but certainly those women are not, you know, we shouldn't judge all women by those women.
Oh, I agree.
But do you think there are a lot of men who are attracted to a woman who's with somebody? Or do you think that's more something females do more?
No, I think it's probably men do it just as much, and I think it's sort of it's the challenge of it, the fact that, you know, there's a woman that I'd really like to get to know, and it doesn't matter that she's with someone. I'm still, you know, maybe it won't happen tonight, but it's sort of that macho conquest kind of thing that, you know, if I'm
going to wrestle her out of his arms, by golly.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going to get her to call me later in the week, or that kind of thing.
Well, I think anybody who's worth having is going to be with somebody, but I think we have to
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know, they're going to be able to have a relationship with somebody. That, you know, so. All right, thank you for the call, Steve.
Okay, I just wanted to make one other comment, too, on what you're talking about, the way women dress. I've noticed, especially this summer, it seems to be when I go down to the Braves games, that women, I don't know if there's some kind of a dress code for women when they go to watch a baseball game, but it seems like there's a whole different criteria for women, and they're very, and I think of one game that I went to just a couple of weeks ago, and a woman that was dressed in a very revealing manner, and several men that were sitting around her were probably staring more than they should have, and she would almost act offended.
Well, yeah, I know.
That she was drawing attention.
Why are you dressing that way?
And I was thinking to myself, if you didn't want men to look at you in a suggestive manner, then you should have covered up a little bit more of your body.
Exactly. I totally agree with that, Steve. Totally agree with you there.
But I've never really noticed it, except at, you know, the occasions that I've been down at the Braves.
I think lately it's getting a little more obvious. I've got to run, but thanks for the call, Steve.
Okay, thank you, Melanie.
Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to News Talk Radio, AM-750 WSB.
Yep, Garrow McKee here, weekdays at 4 on a hometown radio show. Listen this week for your chance to win a breakfast bar buffet for 4 at Shoney's Restaurant and 2 tickets to the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra's Music Under the Big Top as they present Symphony Circus Saturdays, July 25th and August 1st. And then this Sunday, July 26th, AM-750 WSB and Real Lemon Juice invite you and your family to SciTrek, Atlanta's Science and Technology Museum. The first 100 kids to visit SciTrek with a paid adult's going to get in free.
This is Scott Slade, Atlanta's Morning News, with programming notes for this weekend. Saturday morning at 6, listen for the gardening show of Kathy Henderson, sponsored by Pike Family Nurseries. Saturday at 2, it's Mac the Mechanic, followed by the Home Fix-It show at 4, sponsored by Georgia Power. Sunday at 2, it's Ask the Doctor, in cooperation with Atlanta Medical. Listen and learn all weekend. And that's what's happening this week on News Talk Radio, AM-750 WSB. You should feel great after a good physical workout. But whatever your favorite exercise, aerobics, tennis, swimming, jogging, you're going to experience sore muscles. That's why you need Sotogesic medicated pads. Sotogesics' unique formula provides cool, soothing, temporary pain relief for millions of fitness enthusiasts. Soothing pain-relieving medication on the pad is released to where it hurts. There's no strong odor, no messy creams to soil clothing. For those who prefer a lotion, there's Sotogesic lotion with the easy applicator top. Whether you use Sotogesic pads or lotion, you'll be working out again in no time. Look for Sotogesic in the red, white, and blue package in the pain reliever section. And remember, it's priced right, too. Use Sotogesic medicated pads or Sotogesic lotion as directed and take relief to the pain. Healthcare innovation from Sato.
Available at Eckerd, America's family drugstore. People are talking about American Adventures, Atlanta's only children's amusement park.
We have children ages 8, 10, 11, and 13, and they like to do everything here, and so do we.
We don't have to stand in line forever in 3 days. And also, the prices, if you look, $9.99 for the kids all day, but the parents only have to pay $4.99, and that's great. I like the American Revolution, the Great Race, and the bumper cars.
Well, we both like that balloon ride a lot.
Well, my youngest one likes the roller coaster.
It has lots of rides that you can ride that has a bunch of different rides instead of the same old thing.
My children love all these rides.
I went on the tilt-a-whirl with the kids.
They have all different kinds of rides for certain ages, and it's not just for like little kids or big kids, it's for everybody.
American Adventures is a whole world of fun created just for kids under 12. And with no general admission, a visit to American Adventures is a great family value. It's all the things kids love to do. American Adventures is located next to Whitewater on Interstate 75 at exit 113.
It's a lot of good, clean family fun.
Hey, Crystal Heads, welcome to Late Night with Bob. Brought to you by those wonderful folks at Crystal. Tonight's guest has an exciting new business. Ben, what exactly is a dishwashing service?
Bring in your dishes before 9. We're going to have them ready to pick up by 5. And no stain is too tough for us. Spaghetti sauce, lipstick on the glasses. We've seen it all.
That you have. Hey, what about those annoying little stains, you know, like the ones...
We interrupt this program to bring you a special live bulletin from the Crystal News Network. Hello, everyone. This is Ed, coming to you live from the Crystal Newsroom. KNN has just learned that Crystal is offering a new combo meal. Come in between midnight and 4 a.m., and you could get 4 fresh, hot, famous Crystal small fries and a small Coke for only $2.49. This has been a special live report from the Crystal News Network. Now back to our regular program.
And Wednesday's salad plate day. Bring in a number of salad plates we're going to clean up for half price.
Oh, it's a great kind of a vegetarian special, huh?
When you're hungry for a great hot meal, head to Crystal. Our 24-hour restaurants are open all night.
Bring in 4 filthy forks on Friday. The 5th one's free.
Well, now it's hot this weekend. We know you're going to enjoy that. Yeah. But don't forget to get back here for the big day, the day we're all waiting for, Monday afternoon. Can't wait till Monday, can we? 4 o'clock, we'll start the Gary McKee Hometown Radio Show. Hypothetical question. I want you to call and answer this question. If women ruled the world, what crimes would get the death penalty? Monday afternoon, 4 on AM-750 WSB.
Not taking the trash out, Gary. If you do it 3 times in a row, you fry. Okay. The weather tonight, partly cloudy, low 68. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and warm, high 86, low 67. And the temperature presently on Peachtree Street is a nice, balmy, beautiful 73 degrees. We've got some scattered stuff up on radar, but it doesn't look bad, just scattered around the city. So maybe you're not getting rained on. I certainly hope not. We're talking about women who feel the need to expose their flesh in public. We're talking about lots of things. We're talking about who are you related to? Who's famous in your family that I want to know who my audience is, like if there's any celebrities are out there or anything, because I found out that I know Kim Bassinger's cousin, and I just, Okay, and our number is 872-0750, and right now we're going to go to Letty. Line up the phones, listen to the news, and then you can talk to me. Letty in Alabama, what's up?
Well, listening to you talk about women who expose too much flesh.
Have you noticed that lately that it's more an epidemic?
I just came back from the beach a couple of days ago.
Oh, forget it. They may as well be nude. I couldn't wear one of those little thongy things. I mean, that looks so uncomfortable.
Well, what surprises me, living in Alabama, the same people who would not have you sell Hustler or Penthouse in a bookstore will send their daughter looking like the centerfold down to the beach.
Well, yeah, maybe they don't know their daughter's looking like that, though. She probably goes out in a nice black, one piece and, bye, Mom.
No, I've been here 20 years. I think they know.
They know?
I think they know.
What's the deal lately, laddie? I wish some women would call who like to expose themselves, and I'm not trying to make a judgment. It makes me feel uncomfortable for them, but then I think they must have some reason for doing it. So we should ask the females out there, if you do wear the little thong bathing suits or you go out in public with very skimpy, revealing clothes on, why do you do that?
I think there's one of the 2 reasons. Either they have very low self-esteem and they think this is what brings them up to the standard of society or something.
Maybe that's because guys are indicating that that's what they like. You think, laddie?
Well,
I mean, look at the proliferation of strip clubs. Maybe women are saying, gee, guys like to look at our bods. I guess we'll show our bods and then we'll attract men.
Well, my philosophy is about men that jerks are not born. They are created by the women around them.
Oh, I see. So it's women. The women are at fault here, Letty. Ooh. He hates women. Letty,
no, I don't hate women.
I'm
believe
just kidding,
me.
Letty. I got to go, babe.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for contributing. Hi, Glenn. What's up?
Hello.
Hello.
This is Melanie?
You've got the one and only.
Melanie, I did not get a chance to call you yesterday when you filled in for David. You and Jules did karaoke, and I wanted to call to make a comment on your singing, and you were excellent. And you sang the night they drove Old Dixie down. I don't know if anybody heard you sing it, but
please.
Have you had a lot of practice singing?
Yes, but I haven't sung in a while.
You sounded great yesterday.
Thank you, Glenn.
Really great. I've been singing the song all day today and yesterday.
I
Since
love
you
that
sang it,
song.
it's been going through my head. I do too. And you sang it way better than Joan Baez.
Well, Glenn, you are so sweet.
And I love it. I love when you guys fill in for David. You and Jules add a lot to that show. And,
we have a good time. I love Jules.
Nothing against David Paul. He's great too, and I listen to you guys every single day. But I feel like I know you all the time. But when I heard you sing that yesterday, I just could not believe. Because it's hard to sound good over AM radio anyway.
Well, thank you, Glenn, for calling. You're a sweetheart. Now you've made my night. Take care, baby.
Are you going to do an album?
Yeah, right.
Huh?
That's my next project.
I'll buy
Glenn.
one. I'll buy it. I bet there's guys out there that like it, to keep up the good work. We love you.
Get a record company to call me, Glenn, and we'll talk.
If they hear you sing, they will.
All right, bye, darling.
Bye-bye.
872-0750. Line up those phones.
Is on the air. Well, actually, I'm on the air, but when I'm done, then Melanie will be on the air. Call now at 872-0750. She wants to hear from you. No, she needs to hear from you. It's Melanie on News Talk Radio, AM-750, WSB.
What's wrong with these headsets today? Well, maybe it would help if I put on the right set. There we go. There's something wrong with the plug here. In the chair, the big chair, the comfy chair. You're listening to Melanie. This is News Talk Radio, AM-750 WSB, and I'm very lonely. I'm a lonely intellectual. It's Saturday night, and I don't usually do these gigs. I'm filling in for Phil because Phil is the best guy on Saturday nights. He's usually here on Saturday nights. What are you doing, Daryl? Daryl's manipulating my thing here. Anyways, he does a really fun show. And I do a really fun show during the week with David, and we think up really goofy topics, and then I sort of have to wind down because by Sunday I have to be very serious. I have to do the doctor show and the parenting show and stuff like that. Well, I'm going to be here 7 days a week this week, and I'm kind of burnt out. I really am. And Daryl just told me that I'm really boring. And he said, Melanie, people just aren't smart out there. They don't want to talk. They want to have fun. Daryl said I'm boring, and now I'm hurt. But anyways, I just think, there's lots of partying going on and stuff, but to me, fun is getting together with your buddies and sitting around the living room and having deep, intense discussions about things. Like, what is greed? Or, and that's a great topic to get around and discuss with your buddies and your family. What is greed? And I just thought you guys wanted to talk tonight. I thought you would talk to me. And these Saturday nights, now I know why I don't do Saturday nights anymore, because really, you guys are boring. You're a really boring crowd. You really are. I thought you were intellectuals. I thought you could comment on things, and you've really disappointed me tonight. You really have. And I don't know what to do now. I don't know. I'm so hurt because I thought you would appreciate an intelligent person coming on the air and bringing up topics, and we'd sit around like we were sitting around the living room. We'd pop some popcorn. We're having a good time, and nobody's doing anything. You're just boring people, really boring. I thought Atlanta was a happening town. I thought we had smart people here. I thought we had people who really could get into stuff, and you're just all boring. So maybe what I should do is just put a tape on or something. Maybe I'll I'll find an old fill tape and throw it on for you, and you can listen to something that's already been said. Or maybe I'll just play music for an hour. Maybe here, let's do some of this here. Here we go. There we go. We'll just play some of that, and we'll just kind of sit back and listen. You think so? Are you people, wake up, people. Call me 8720750. Edith, what do you think? Is this a boring place or what?
Are you talking to me?
Sure am, Edith.
I just happened to switch over, and I thought, well, who is this that's on WSB tonight? I'll see. But I just want to make a comment about the WSB programming.
Oh, Edith, I don't know if I want to hear this.
Oh, I don't think you do.
Because you know what? I've heard it about 5 billion times.
Well, I don't even listen to WSB anymore.
See, this is a talk show, and see, if you want to bring up a topic, and see, if you don't like what they talk about on WSB, then what you do is you call up and you say, hey, you know, I've observed this, or I think this and so, and then we talk about that, and then, see, you direct where the radio station goes. You have that power on a talk show to do that. But see, all you want to do is call up and complain about what's already here instead of adding to it. You're complaining about it, and I'm just not in the mood. I'm sorry, Edith, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend anyway. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Melanie.
What's up, Melissa? Do you like get into just sitting around and chit-chatting with your friends about weird stuff?
Oh, sometimes. Usually we get into discussions about current day things like Life Universe, whether or not Kenny Hardwick killed his baby or not, or, you know, all that wonderful stuff, you know, what's going on now. Yeah, I don't have anything to do tonight. I was flipping over, and it's like, I heard you, and it's like, I usually hear you on David's show during the day, and it was like, oh, well, what's Melanie doing on tonight?
Well, I was talking about, Melissa, earlier about, have you noticed, and maybe you're one of these women, and I don't mean to be judgmental at all, but have you noticed that women are starting to really reveal a lot more skin lately?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, totally. Yeah. And, like, why do they do that? What is the point? I just personally, I was in a department store, and you've probably seen this too. You go in there, and they're like these bras. It's like a bra. And they put a little lace and a little denim on, and they sell it for $50. And women wear this. And
yeah, that's ridiculous. That is.
Why do women do that, Melissa? Does it make you feel uncomfortable, too?
Sometimes, yeah, it does. I wouldn't wear anything like that out in public. I kind of wonder maybe sometimes that if it's women kind of see these things in the department store, and that's kind of what they're kind of being told that's what they should wear. You've heard that in the department stores they do subliminal messages.
Do they really?
Yeah, under the music and stuff. They'll have things like "Don't steal," and they'll do it for the employees, like "Be happy," things like that. And it's like, I wonder if sometimes they might put these little subliminal messages in there that says you've got to have this.
But there's no amount of subliminal messages that could make me wear anything like that, because I really don't have a nice body. I mean, should women, maybe women who really work on their bodies and who do the aerobic thing like every day, should they feel free to show their wonderful bodies to the world?
Well, I don't know. Some of the guys I know kind of say that you need to leave something to the imagination. They don't particularly like women who go around showing everything.
But so many women do. Everywhere you go, like you go to the ball game, you go to the mall, you go out to eat, and there are women who just, I mean, there's more skin than clothes.
Oh, definitely. You know, right now I can understand because of it being summer and everything. But even in the winter, there are just some women around these days who just insist on almost stripping naked to try and catch a man, I guess.
Well, we've got to get some women who do this to call, Melissa, and explain their reasoning, why they do it. But they're probably listening to, like, acid rock right now or something.
Yeah,
you think?
They're probably being, like, real bimbos or something. Yeah.
Probably.
Let's hear from the bimbos out in the audience.
Yes, we would like all the bimbos to call.
Let's get some of David's regular female callers to call in.
Hi, David. I'm sitting nude in the bathtub right now.
There you go, Melissa.
Yeah.
Let me hear the water. Let me hear this. So what does your body look like? This is Dave Paul. Let me say, how tall are you? Okay, never mind. We shouldn't make fun of Dave. Dave's a very sad little individual, but we love him anyway, right?
Yes, we do.
All right, take care, Melissa. Thanks for calling.
Okay.
Bye. All right, maybe Nick has an explanation for us. Hey, Nick.
Hello.
Hello, darling.
Yeah, how are you, Melanie? This is my first time
I'm
call.
fine because now everybody lined up all the phones and I feel better.
All right.
But keep calling 8720750. Oh, and if they're listening to us down in Tampa or Orlando or anywhere in Florida from WSUN, call 1-800-WSB-TALK and we'll talk. I'm so glad that you people got over or got upset about my calling you boring and you called me.
Okay, well...
So what do you want to say, Nick? What the hell do you want?
No. If you saw a couple weeks ago, if you read the newspaper about Muslim women who cover up, if you heard about the ad they have in the newspaper.
Women
they criticize about the women.
Women in the veil?
Yeah, in the veil.
Oh, well, now that's the other extreme. That's the far opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, but if we go, we understand you have less rape. You don't hear a story about rape in the Muslim society.
Because hockey.
Yeah, it's
that's
true.
the biggest hockey. There's just as much rape over there as there is here.
That's not true.
Honey.
You need to discover. You need to.
That's not what that article said, Nick. The article said that there was rape there too, and that if a woman was raped, she should probably kill herself because she'd bring disgrace to herself. I don't want to get into this Mideastern garbage. Sorry. Hey, Bart.
Hi, Melanie. How you doing?
What be happening, Bart?
Well, I just called to tell you that I love your show and I love David's show, and I am so tired by the political biased bull that's on the Atlanta talk shows, which of course is not on your show or.
No,
David's
I like
show.
to talk about different. I like to talk. My favorite subject is probably human nature. What